It is a Tuesday morning in May. He is 67 years old, standing in front of a 10 by 20 storage unit on Route 9. The metal door is cold under his hand. In his pocket is the same small key he has carried since 2019. 6 years. 6 years of paying $187 every single month for a room he never opened once. He slides the key in. The lock clicks. The door rattles upward. The smell hits him first. Dust. Old cardboard. Heat trapped in darkness. Then he sees it. His life, stacked wall to wall. Furniture from his mother's house. Boxes from the office after retirement. His son's old baseball gear. A treadmill buried behind lamps and plastic bins. Things he once promised himself he would sort through next month. He pulls down the first box he can reach. Inside is a blender still sealed in the original package. The price tag is still there. So is the receipt. $89. Bought on sale in 2017. Never used once. He stands there in the parking lot doing the math in his head. $187 a month. 72 months. $13,464. Paid to store things nobody uses anymore. And that is only the storage unit. That is not the boat sitting under a tarp. Not the timeshare with yearly fees. Not the garage so full he cannot park inside. Not the basement packed with exercise equipment turned into coat racks. Most people think retirement is destroyed by the stock market. Or inflation. Or medical bills. But for many people, the real damage comes from something far quieter. The cost of owning too much. Not buying things. Owning them. Every single thing you own sends a monthly bill into your life. Storage. Insurance. Repairs. Property tax. Registration fees. HOA dues. Maintenance. Cleaning. Worry. Decisions. For years, people were told that success meant collecting more. Bigger homes. More upgrades. More stuff to protect and maintain. Nobody warned them that ownership never stops charging rent. And the retirees quietly doing the best today are often not the people who earned the most money. They are the people who learned to need the least. Section 1, The Invisible Enemy. There is a cost to owning things that almost nobody calculates. Not the price tag. The after cost. The money that keeps leaving your account month after month long after the excitement of buying something is gone. This hidden system has a name: possession overhead. Every object you own keeps charging you rent. A storage unit may cost $180 a month. That is over $2,000 a year just to keep old furniture, boxes, and things you forgot you even had. A jewelry insurance rider can add another $600 a year. A boat sitting in storage may cost $4,000 for docking, winterization, and repairs before it even touches water. A vacation home can quietly eat $15,000 to $25,000 a year in taxes, cleaning, repairs, and utilities even if nobody stays there. Then there is the second car. Registration. Insurance. Tires. Oil changes. Battery replacements. Another $3,000 to $5,000 a year gone for something that spends most of its life parked. And almost nobody notices what is happening because the bills are spread out. A little here. A little there. Until the garage becomes a warehouse. Closets become storage lockers. Spare rooms become museums of old purchases. Owning things is like hiring employees you forgot you hired. Every month they show up with their hand out asking to be paid whether they did any work or not. This hits one group especially hard: people between 55 and 75. They spent 30 years building a life filled with possessions. Bigger homes. More cars. More storage. More subscriptions. More maintenance. But now they are entering the stage of life where every dollar matters more. Retirement income has limits. And every piece of overhead competes directly with freedom, travel, health care, and peace of mind. That is the trap nobody warns people about. You do not own your stuff. Your stuff owns you, and it charges rent. Section 2, the emotional math. Most people never do the full math. They look at each bill by itself, so it feels small. But when you put everything together, the number changes fast. Take a normal middle-class retired household. The storage unit costs $2,200 a year. The boat they only use 4 times each summer costs another $4,800 between storage, insurance, maintenance, and slip fees. The vacation timeshare adds a $1,400 yearly maintenance fee whether they travel or not. The second vehicle sitting in the driveway costs $2,100 a year in insurance and registration even though it is barely driven. Then there are the extra insurance riders on jewelry, collectibles, and expensive items they have not even looked at in years. Another $600 gone. Total possession overhead, $11,100 every single year. Most people hear that number and think, that is expensive. But the real number is much bigger. In retirement, many people follow the 4% rule. That means for every $1 they spend each year, they need about $25 invested to safely support that spending long term. So if a household has $11,100 in yearly possession overhead, they do not just need $11,100. They need this. 11100/div 0.04 is equal to $277,500. That means they need $277,500 invested just to support the cost of owning things they barely use. Not to travel. Not to help their children. Not for health care. Not for freedom. Just to feed the overhead. That old boat is not only costing monthly fees. It is quietly eating $250,000 in retirement capital. The storage unit is no longer just storage. It is part of the reason retirement feels tighter than expected. And this is why so many people feel financially stressed even after decades of earning good money. Their income stopped, but the army of bills they collected over 30 years never did. The math is not subtle. Section 3, the 3 categories of wealth-destroying ownership. There are 3 types of ownership that quietly drain money faster than people realize. Each one feels exciting at first. Each one becomes heavier over time. And each one keeps charging long after the excitement is gone. The first category is the depreciating trophy. This is the boat. The RV. The vacation vehicle sitting in the driveway waiting for someday. These purchases usually happen during emotional highs. Retirement. A promotion. A good year financially. People imagine freedom, adventure, and family memories. But then real life happens. The average boat owner in America only uses their boat about 11 days each year. Yet ownership still costs between $5,000 and $9,000 a year for storage, insurance, repairs, fuel, and maintenance. That means every single day on the water may really cost $450 to $818. And the less the boat gets used, the more painful the math becomes. The second category is the contractual trap. This is the timeshare. The club membership. The exclusive ownership deal that becomes almost impossible to escape. Many timeshares use automatic renewal clauses, long-term contracts, transfer restrictions, and binding agreements that survive even after people stop traveling. Some owners discover leaving costs more than staying. That is why entire industries now exist around timeshare exit services. Many of these companies target older adults in states like Florida, Nevada, and Arizona where complaints about timeshare exit fraud have become common. People already trapped financially become trapped a second time trying to escape. Then comes the third category. The invisible warehouse. The storage unit. Today, 1 in 11 American households rents one. The average monthly cost is around $190. That is more than $2,000 a year to store objects many people cannot even fully list from memory. Most renters would need to physically drive there just to remember everything inside. And here is the hardest part. In many cases, the contents inside are worth less than the yearly cost of storing them. 3 categories. 3 monthly invoices. And in every case, the thing you bought to improve your life is now quietly billing you for the privilege of owning it. Section 4, the anger legitimization. This is the part many people need to hear clearly. You were not foolish for accumulating things. You did what you were taught to do. You worked long hours. You saved money. You delayed fun for decades. You bought quality because you were told quality lasts. You kept your mother's furniture because it carried memories. You bought the boat because for 35 years you promised yourself that retirement would finally be your time to enjoy life. None of that was reckless. That was the plan. For decades, the message was always the same: work hard, build a good life, fill your home with things that show your success, then enjoy them later. And many people followed that advice exactly. The problem is that almost nobody warned them about the second bill that comes after ownership. The retirement industry talks endlessly about income, Social Security, investment returns, withdrawal rates, healthcare costs, taxes. But almost nobody talks about possession overhead. Nobody sat down at the retirement seminar and said, "Let us calculate what it costs to keep everything you spent 40 years collecting." The advisor modeled your income. The advisor modeled your expenses. But they usually never modeled the monthly cost of maintaining the life you built. And that missing number matters more than people realize. Because for many retirees, possession overhead quietly drains $8,000 to $15,000 every single year. Not because they are living wildly. Not because they failed financially. But because every object they own keeps asking for maintenance, insurance, storage, repairs, cleaning, registration, protection, or space. That is why some retirees feel confused when the numbers stop working. On paper, they did everything correctly. But the hidden cost of ownership kept growing in the background year after year until it became its own category of spending. And nobody warned them it was coming. They modeled your income. They modeled your expenses. Nobody modeled what it costs to keep everything you spent 40 years collecting. Section 5, the 2 characters. Robert and Robert were both 67 years old. Both retired the same year. Both had $600,000 in savings. Both owned a house worth $380,000. Both received the same Social Security income every month. From the outside, their lives looked almost identical. But one small difference changed the rest of their retirement. Robert kept everything. The boat stayed. The storage unit stayed. The timeshare stayed. The second car stayed parked in the driveway. Every month, the bills kept coming. Insurance. Storage fees. Repairs. Registration. Maintenance. His possession overhead reached $14,000 every year. So each year, Robert had to pull another $14,000 from his retirement portfolio just to support things he barely used anymore. At first, it did not seem serious. But retirement is long. Over 20 years, with compounding included, that extra overhead drained about $420,000 from his portfolio. By age 83, the money was gone. And when he died, his children inherited problems instead of freedom. A timeshare they could not sell. A storage unit filled with objects they did not recognize. Boxes nobody wanted but nobody knew how to handle. Then there was Robert B. One Saturday afternoon, he sat down and did the math honestly. He sold the boat. He exited the timeshare, even though it meant taking a small loss. He emptied the storage unit and closed it. He sold the second car. His yearly possession overhead dropped from $14,000 to about $1,200. That freed up $12,800 every year. Instead of losing that money to storage, maintenance, and in used possessions, it stayed invested. And over 20 years, that one decision created about $380,000 of additional wealth. Robert B. died at 84 with nearly $400,000 left for his children. No storage auctions. No legal obligations. No monthly bills attached. Just assets. Clean and simple. Same income. Same house. Same retirement date. One decision changed everything. The entire difference was one Saturday afternoon and the willingness to let go of things he was barely using anyway. Section 6, The Mechanism of Rescue. There is a simple tool that can change a retirement faster than most investment strategies. It is called the Possession Overhead Audit. And it does not take months. You can start this weekend. Get one piece of paper. Draw 4 columns. In the first column, write, what I own. In the second, what it costs per year. In the third, how many times I used it last year. In the fourth, what I would get if I sold it today. Then start listing everything. The storage unit. The second car. The boat. The RV. The timeshare. The club membership. The extra insurance riders. The vacation property. The expensive exercise equipment collecting dust. Anything that keeps sending bills into your life belongs on the page. Now comes the important part. Add up the yearly cost column. That number is your possession overhead. Then do this. \text, possession overhead, \times 25. That is the amount of retirement savings required to support those costs forever using a 4% withdrawal rate. Now total the final column. What could you get if you sold those items today? Then combine both numbers together. The retirement capital needed to sustain the overhead plus the money you could recover from selling the items. That combined number is what owning less could immediately return to your future. And yes, this is where many people feel emotional resistance. But some of these things have sentimental value. Of course they do. Your mother's table may matter. The old fishing gear may remind you of summers with your children. But memories are not trapped inside objects. Sentiment lives in photographs, stories, and experiences. Not inside a treadmill sitting in a storage unit on Route 9 costing $187 a month to keep in the dark. Letting go of the object does not erase the memory. It only stops the monthly bill. And once people finish this audit, something strange usually happens. They stop feeling trapped by their possessions. For the first time in years, they start feeling lighter. Section 7, The Closing Clock. If your possession overhead is $10,000 a year and you are watching this in May 2026, every month you delay this audit is costing you about $833. Money you will never recover. Because the damage is not only the bill itself. It is the lost growth. Every dollar going toward unused possessions is a dollar that is not invested, not compounding, and not available later when life becomes more expensive. And retirement does get more expensive. Especially in your late 70s and 80s when healthcare costs rise and flexibility matters most. This is what many people miss. Compounding works both ways. Money invested early grows quietly over time. But overhead also grows quietly over time. The longer it stays in your life, the more retirement capital it consumes. And the trends are moving in the wrong direction. Storage unit prices have climbed sharply since 2019. In many areas, costs are up around 40%. Timeshare maintenance fees keep increasing too. Many contracts raise fees by around 4% every year automatically whether owners use the property or not. Boat storage and marina slip fees in coastal states have also increased faster than inflation for 5 straight years. The cost of holding on to things is getting heavier, not lighter. That matters because many people tell themselves the same story. I'll deal with it next year. Maybe after the holidays. Maybe next spring. But next spring usually becomes the spring after that. Meanwhile, the invoices keep arriving every month without fail. The storage company does not pause billing because you are emotionally attached to the contents. The marina does not reduce fees because you only use the boat twice. The timeshare contract does not care that you no longer travel the same way you used to. The meter keeps running. And every year you wait, the exit usually becomes more expensive, more emotional, and more difficult. That is why the best time to do the audit is not someday. It is this weekend. Because there is no version of this where waiting costs you less. Section 8, the proxy friend close. Think about one person while you hear this. Maybe it is the neighbor who has been paying for a storage unit since 2018 and laughs about it at dinner parties. Maybe it is your brother-in-law with the boat that only leaves the dock twice every summer. Maybe it is the friend who brings up their timeshare maintenance fee every January with that tired look on their face. You already know someone like this. And the important part is this. They are not lazy. They are not foolish. They are not bad with money. They simply never ran the full number. Nobody ever showed them how possession overhead works. Nobody handed them the 4-column audit. Nobody explained that the monthly bills attached to unused things can quietly drain hundreds of thousands of dollars from retirement over time. So send them this video. Not as criticism. Not as financial advice. As an act of friendship. Because sometimes one conversation changes everything. Sometimes all it takes is one Saturday afternoon at the kitchen table with a piece of paper and 4 honest columns. What do I own? What does it cost every year? How often do I actually use it? What would I get if I sold it today? That is how people begin taking their freedom back. And if this video helped you see money differently, subscribe to the channel. Because there are many financial truths people reach retirement without ever hearing. Not because the information was hidden. But because nobody ever slowed down long enough to explain it in plain language. That is what this channel is for. You are not telling someone they made a mistake. You are showing them the door out.